Gil, I mean, I remember walking out and CJ, the producer of the show, he's like, Shannon, this is gonna blow up the internet. I said, but it just took off.
Yeah.
And everybody they were just shaking their head. I was like, what? They're like, Shannon, this is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharpe, a name once synonymous with gridiron glory and unshakable charisma, is now at the heart of a scandal so gripping it feels torn from the pages of a salacious Hollywood script. The man who redefined the tight end position in the NFL and later carved out a second chapter as a media powerhouse is facing allegations that threaten to dismantle the very image he spent decades building. And the worst part? This isn't just about one lawsuit, one accusation, or even one bad decision. No, this is a web of calculated chaos, personal vendettas, and a backdrop of simmering grudges that have been years in the making. This is not just Shannon Sharpe versus the court of public opinion. This is Shannon Sharpe versus the world.
On Easter Sunday, a lawsuit was filed in state court in Nevada against Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe because he has become such a massive media star, especially in the past few years. The lawsuit is going to attract.
The first blow landed with the force of a freight train, a lawsuit filed in Nevada by a woman named Gabriela Zuniga. Now, if the name doesn't ring a bell, that's because it wasn't supposed to. She initially filed under the pseudonym Jane Doe to protect her identity, an anonymity that Shannon, or perhaps his legal team, quickly shattered. But let's back up for a second because the allegations themselves deserve their own deep dive. According to Zuniga, she met Shannon in 2023 when she was just 19 years old, a college-aged woman navigating the world, when she crossed paths with a man over 3 decades, her senior. That's where it starts to get murky because while their relationship allegedly began consensually, according to her, it spiraled into something darker, something she claims involved manipulation, control, and a disturbing level of aggression. The lawsuit paints a picture that's hard to digest, even for those with the strongest stomachs. Zuniga accuses Shannon of crossing lines repeatedly, ignoring her pleas, and exerting a form of psychological control over her during their 2-year relationship. And here's where things take a sharp turn into the surreal. Zuniga alleges that Shannon not only threatened her, but actively attempted to isolate her from her circle of friends and family, a classic red flag in relationships that take a sinister turn. But the most shocking claim? She says he insisted on recording their intimate moments without her knowledge or consent, and then allegedly shared those recordings with his inner circle like they were some kind of grotesque trophy.
And that the was about handcuffs, choking, putting on dog collars. Do you get those at Petco?
And yet, if you think Shannon was gonna lie down and take these accusations quietly, you clearly don't know the man. In a move that shocked even his harshest critics, Shannon's legal team fired back with receipts, literal receipts. They released a series of texts between Shannon and Zuniga, texts that are so explicit they almost read like a parody of themselves. In one exchange, Zuniga allegedly begged Shannon to choke her during their private moments, using language so graphic it would make even the most seasoned tabloid reporter blush. The goal here was obvious: to discredit her claims and paint her as a willing participant in everything she now alleges was forced upon her. But the move backfired in spectacular fashion. Instead of clearing his name, the text only added fuel to an already blazing fire, as fans and critics alike questioned why someone with Shannon's resources would choose such a messy and polarizing defense strategy.
It's a claim against someone alleging that some rights were violated, and in most cases what's sought is compensation in the form of damages to make up for whatever it is the person did. And there are all sorts of civil lawsuits, car accidents, defamation. We hear about that a lot because people get sued about things that are said about them in media.
But wait, it gets messier. Enter Tony Busby, Zuniga's attorney and a man who's no stranger to high-profile cases. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he's the same legal bulldog who took on other industry titans in lawsuits that made international headlines. And while opinions on Busby range from legal genius to opportunistic firestarter, one thing is clear: he knows how to keep the spotlight firmly fixed on his client's case. Busby has accused Shannon of trying to buy his way out of the scandal with an alleged settlement offer of over $10 million in United States currency, an offer Zuniga reportedly turned down in favor of filing the lawsuit. According to Busby, the settlement wasn't about guilt or innocence, it was about keeping the details of Shannon's private life from becoming public fodder. And now that those details are out, It's open season on Shannon Sharpe.
His attorney offered that up publicly.
To me, her turning it down shows that it's not a money grab.
No, it shows that it's a bigger shakedown.
But here's where the plot thickens. As if the allegations themselves weren't enough, the case has reignited a firestorm of old controversies and skeletons Shannon surely thought were buried for good. A decade-old accusation involving a female production assistant at Fox Sports has re-emerged, with sources claiming the incident was quietly settled for a hefty sum. And then there's the 2010 allegation that forced Shannon to briefly step away from his role at CBS after a restraining order was filed against him. Though that case was ultimately dismissed, the stain on his reputation lingered, and now it's being dragged back into the court of public opinion like a ghost haunting him at the worst possible time.
So are now beginning to bring up past things that have happened with Shannon Sharpe, including a temporary restraining order that was filed against him back in 2010 from a woman that he was dealing with at the time, who accused him of sexual assault. He said in different things. Now, this was dropped. It was dismissed, that restraining.
But what makes this story truly explosive isn't just the allegations or the legal battles, it's the cast of characters circling the drama, like sharks smelling blood in the water. And none has been louder or more gleeful than comedian Katt Williams. If you've been following the entertainment world, you'll know that Katt and Shannon have history, a tangled web of tension that stems from an infamous interview on Club Shay, and an Australian influence that often followed it all. With Club Shay, that interview, which broke records for its raw and unfiltered look into Katt's life and career, also marked the beginning of a rift between the two men. Katt has since made no secret of his disdain for Shannon, and now, with the allegations piling up, he's taken it upon himself to be the loudest voice in the room. Whether it's thinly veiled jabs on social media, or cryptic comments hinting at spilling more tea, Katt is clearly relishing every second of Shannon's public unraveling.
For everything I'm telling you, that's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here? Get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
And yet, this isn't just about Katt Williams. The fallout has extended far beyond Shannon's immediate circle. Industry insiders are reportedly questioning whether Shannon's career can withstand this level of scrutiny. His lucrative podcast deal, which was rumored to exceed $100 million in United States currency, now hangs in the balance. And his role on ESPN's First Take? Well, let's just say the network's statement about agreeing with Shannon's decision to step away temporarily doesn't exactly scream confidence in his future. And here's the kicker. Shannon isn't just fighting for his career, he's fighting for his legacy. This is a man who built an empire on the foundation of hard work, charisma, and an unrelenting drive to succeed. To see it all come crashing down in such a spectacularly public fashion is a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. And yet, with every new revelation, every leaked text, and every damning audio clip, one can't help but wonder if this is the end of the road for Shannon Sharpe, or just the beginning of an even darker chapter. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that scandals like these rarely end cleanly. Instead, they unravel like a slow-motion train wreck, each twist and turn more shocking than the last. And with Tony Busby promising even more bombshells to come, it's clear this story is far from over.
Alrighty, y'all. So the Shannon Sharpe ESPN, does he still keep his job conversation is beginning to, I was gonna say beginning to happen, but it's been happening, but I think now it's beginning to get louder because of different things that Attorney Busby has released, including the audios. So right now the conversation is, why is Shannon Sharpe still able to be?
And just when you think Shannon Sharpe's situation couldn't spiral any further, the story finds new depths to plummet. Because what's unfolding now isn't just a battle in the courtroom. It's a war waged on multiple fronts, with every new revelation dragging more people, more secrets, and more questions into the spotlight. Forget damage control. At this point, it feels like Shannon's trying to hold back a tsunami with a roll of paper towels, and the hits keep coming.
Like the Deshaun Watson cases where there were 20 plus plaintiffs and they weren't really sure who the people were who were making the claims. In this case, Shannon Sharpe knows exactly who it is because there had been, and it's clear from the statement issued by his lawyer, Lanny Davis, there had been some pre-litigation efforts to try to resolve this.
Let's start with the audio clips. Yes, those audio clips, the ones that Tony Busby dropped like napalm on an already blazing fire. In these recordings, Shannon can allegedly be heard making comments that are as disturbing as they are damning. Threats, coercive language, and a tone that walks the razor's edge between playful and menacing, it's all there. And while Shannon's team insists these were taken out of context, stitched together to paint a false narrative, The damage was done the moment those words hit the airwaves. One particular remark, where Shannon allegedly alludes to the optics of a big man intimidating a smaller woman, sent shockwaves through both his supporters and his critics. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a he said, she said legal battle. It was about the power dynamics that have haunted public discourse for years. The optics, the implications, the fallout, it was all catastrophic.
Shannon Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of raping her twice.
And Busby? Oh, he's savoring every second of this. The man has mastered the art of weaponizing public perception, and he's wielding it like a sledgehammer. He knows how to keep the narrative alive, how to drip feed just enough scandal to keep people glued to their screens. After releasing those clips, he doubled down, claiming, "There's more where that came from, more audio, more evidence, more skeletons rattling in Shannon's closet." And let's be honest, whether or not those claims hold water, the mere suggestion that there's more dirt to uncover is enough to keep the headlines churning. Busby isn't just building a case, he's orchestrating a spectacle, and Shannon is the unwilling star. But wait, because if you thought the audio was bad, just look at what's happening in the shadows. Reports are surfacing that Gabriela Zuniga isn't the only one stepping forward with claims against Shannon. Another woman, linked to a separate incident from years ago, has allegedly reached out to Busby's team. And while the details of her claims remain murky, the mere fact that someone else might have a story to tell is enough to send Shannon's camp scrambling. This isn't just a legal battle anymore, it's starting to feel like the early stages of a full-blown reckoning. And the timing, well, let's just say it's suspiciously perfect for anyone looking to pile on.
And I don't want to get too far into it, but anyway, it was the person told a lie.
Of course, Shannon's team isn't going down without a fight. They've gone on the offensive, painting Zuniga as a calculated opportunist with a history of manipulation. They've pointed to her involvement in subscription-based platforms, framing her as someone willing to exploit her personal life for financial gain. And while these tactics might resonate with some, they've also sparked backlash. Critics argue that Shannon's team is engaging in classic victim blaming, deflecting attention from the allegations by dragging Zuniga's character through the mud. It's a strategy as old as time, and in the era of social media, it's a double-edged sword. For every person who buys into the narrative, there's another who sees it as proof of desperation.
That's how we found out about the lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Now, this one has some very strong allegations: sexual assault, sexual battery, assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The sexual components obviously give it greater gravity than a car accident or any case based on some sort of negligent slip and fall, something like that, where someone was just being careless.
And then there's Shannon himself. He's always been known for his candor, his willingness to speak his mind, but now that trait seems to be working against him. His public statements, intended to clear his name, have instead added layers of complexity to the saga. Take his video addressing the allegations, a heartfelt, unscripted moment where he insisted on his innocence and accused Zuniga and Busby of orchestrating a shakedown. While some saw it as a genuine plea for understanding, others couldn't help but notice the cracks in his composure, the moments where frustration bled into something more volatile. If this was meant to win over public opinion, it fell short. Instead, it left people questioning whether Shannon, for all his charisma, might be hiding something after all.
But people different now.
Yeah.
And people try to make more out of situations than what it is.
But here's the kicker. Shannon's claims of being targeted by an elaborate scheme aren't entirely without precedent. Tony Busby, the attorney representing Zuniga, has a history of taking on high-profile clients in legal battles that walk a thin line between justice-seeking and media manipulation. Critics point to his previous cases, including one that involved a major music mogul, where similar tactics of leaked evidence, public grandstanding, and sky-high settlement demands were used. It's a strategy that's as effective as it is polarizing, leaving many to wonder whether Busby's goal is justice for his client or a headline-grabbing payday. And Shannon, whether intentionally or not, has leaned into this narrative, painting himself as the latest target in Busby's alleged playbook. Yet, for every detractor who sees Busby's moves as opportunistic, there are just as many who argue that his aggressive methods are necessary to hold powerful men accountable.
Because I got Club Shay,
Right,
and I've
right.
almost got 3 million subs.
Right.
And ever since that Katt Williams, a
Yeah.
lot of mofos been treating your boy different.
What?
What complicates this even further is the timing of everything. The lawsuit against Shannon was filed just days before reports surfaced of a massive media deal on the horizon for him. a deal that would have cemented his status as a media mogul and reportedly set a new benchmark for podcasting contracts. Coincidence? Shannon's camp doesn't think so. They've pointed to the timing as evidence of a deliberate attempt to derail his career at its peak, a chess move designed to back him into a corner where settling would seem like the only way out. But what's fascinating is how this theory has divided public opinion even more sharply. Some are rallying behind Shannon, convinced he's being extorted. Others, however, view the timing as irrelevant, arguing that his alleged actions, not the calendar, are what truly matter. The result is a narrative that's as tangled as it is explosive, with no clear resolution in sight. And as if that weren't enough, the ripple effects are starting to spread. Shannon's business ventures, his endorsements, his carefully curated image, they're all under threat. Rumors are swirling that his podcast deal, reportedly worth a staggering sum, is now in jeopardy. Sponsors are said to be reevaluating their partnerships, wary of being associated with someone embroiled in such a high-profile scandal. Even his role on ESPN, once seen as untouchable, is now hanging by a thread. The network's statement about Shannon stepping away temporarily was carefully worded, but the subtext was clear. If this situation doesn't resolve quickly and cleanly, his return is far from guaranteed.
He didn't want everything to happen immediately.
Absolutely.
It's only Thursday.
It's instant. They want everything to instantly happen. It doesn't work like that.
The righteous people on Reddit, baby, they are dissecting and divulging right now.
And let's not forget the other players in this drama. Katt Williams, never one to shy away from controversy, has been fanning the flames with a level of enthusiasm that borders on gleeful. His thinly veiled comments, his cryptic social media posts, it's all designed to keep Shannon's name in the headlines. And then there's the broader entertainment community, where opinions are as divided as the public. Some see Shannon as a victim of extortion, a successful man being targeted for his wealth and influence. Others see him as emblematic of a larger problem, a figure who, despite his success, has allegedly wielded his power in ways that are deeply troubling. But here's the thing. Whether Shannon is guilty or innocent almost feels secondary at this point. The court of public opinion moves faster than the legal system, and right now, it's running on overdrive. Every new detail, every leaked piece of evidence, every statement from Shannon or his accusers, it all feeds into a narrative that's as compelling as it is chaotic. And the real tragedy is that the truth, whatever it may be, is getting lost in the noise. Because this isn't just a legal case, it's a spectacle, a soap opera playing out in real time, with the world watching and waiting for the next twist.
We're in an interesting game.
We are.
Hey, 58 million views though.
Oh yeah.
Almost 58 million views.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now, standing on the edge of a scandal that shows no signs of slowing down. What started as a single lawsuit has snowballed into something much bigger, a sprawling, messy saga that's dragging everyone in its path. And the question on everyone's mind isn't just what happens next, it's how far this will go. Will Shannon's career survive the onslaught? Will more accusers come forward? And most importantly, will the truth ever come to light, or will it be buried under the weight of public opinion and legal maneuvering? So, what do you think? Is Shannon Sharpe the victim of a calculated smear campaign, or are these allegations just the tip of the iceberg? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and trust us, we're far from done with this one. Stay tuned, because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that this story is just getting started. See you in the next one.